Hi everyone, it's really good to see you. This is a pre-recording. I'm on travels today and I wasn't able to get back to home in time to do it live stream. As you know, I love live streaming live as it happens in the moment, but I'm just not able to do it for Tuesday evening. So it's a pre-recording. It won't be as long as I have done in time past, but hopefully there'll be some content that you can use. So welcome to everyone and to those who are normally online live. And for those of you who stay in the background, I had a meal with somebody on Friday and he said he watches it often and he stays in the background. He doesn't do any comment. Welcome to you and welcome to many more of you that watch each week or watch really, really often. You don't make a comment, but you know, if you can take notes and you can use it and your life has been enhanced, absolutely brilliant. That's what I'm about, that we can do things, so that your life's enhanced. You can make better choices with the knowledge and information that you receive. So the last couple of weeks we've been looking at taking time to pause, and today we'll be looking at some of the practicalities of what that actually means. But for those of you who may be here for the first time, seeing the recording, also I want to say, please take notes. If you have any questions or queries, please put them in the chat box, and when I return over the next day or two, I'll be able to answer them. So please, please ask your questions and make comments and so forth. So for those of you who may be just starting or this is your first time, I wanted to do something about pausing. A friend of mine who I know really, really well became quite well some time ago. The levels of stress in the job, and there's lots of stuff going on in her personal life. And she said to me, Delroy, I need to take, in fact, what happened, I texted, I didn't hear from her for quite a while. So when I inquired, she said, I just needed to step back. I needed to take time out to pause, to look at my health, to look at a new diet and so forth, because so much has been going on and a lot has been going on for her over the last year. So I was thinking about pausing. That it's really important. We don't talk about it often, but it's really, really important. So pause means to stop, catch your breath, hold the reins. It just means to take some time out from the busyness of life. Absolutely important. One of the things we haven't learned as human beings, even machines have downtime in factories. Cars need to be taken in for servicing from time to time. And somehow as human beings, we think we can function and we can continue, but we can't. One of the things that psychology has taught us and neuroscience that we looked at last week, the brain wasn't designed or made or evolved, whatever phrase you want to use, the brain wasn't made to be continually going. It needs time to recover. And some of you would have remembered that a friend of mine had done a massive building project in Birmingham, and the building is used so often. But he said to me a few years ago, Delroy, says, even the buildings get stressed, and there must be one day a week that nothing happens in the building because the building gets stressed. If the building gets stressed, if cars and machines need time out, how much more as human beings? So how do we take time out? As I recall, as I was looking through the material, I recall going to Jamaica a few years ago, and I met a guy on when we were flying into Jamaica. And he said every year he goes to Jamaica for 6 weeks. He built a house out there, married, got family, and every 6 weeks he was a supervisor in a car plant. He said the job was really, really stressful. So he went to Jamaica where he could decompress, take time out, chill. And he said after the 6 weeks, he said all that tension that's been in his body, being here in the UK and working, he's just really relaxed when he returns to England to carry on his work. So this thing about pausing is really important. So today we're looking at some practical skills, and we've got to be intentional about it. We will not pause. Pause doesn't happen by accident or by magic, or we can wish it. We have to be really intentional about taking time out to rest, to recharge our batteries, and so forth. So there's an article, there's a website called Center for Calling and Courage. And I saw this article by this woman called Catherine Golub. And it says, why pausing is a radical act. And there's this kind of really interesting article that this whole thing about pausing is a radical act. and these are my words, especially in a time when a lot of our workplaces, they bam, 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 bam. There's kind of no let up. People are under lots of stress. The demands are increasing. It seems as though you met one demand, there's another demand, there's results. There's more results and there's outcomes and so forth. And workplaces seem to be relentless in terms of the demands it makes on people. So pausing, if you take the time out, is a radical act from systems that are really there to kind of squeeze us dry. So it's really important. So one of the things that she says in the article, and this is the first part of the article, and she says to individuals, I want you to make a commitment that for every day for the next week, get a timer or your phone, time it for 3 minutes, 4 minutes or 5 minutes if you wish, 3 minutes, and just stop. Be still, notice your breath, notice your body. Now that seems it doesn't seem much, does it? But just that 3 minutes, she says, can make all the difference in a mad day, in a busy day when you're really stressed. Taking the time out when you're really stressed at that moment is really important, because what you're doing, you're arresting the body, how tense it gets, and then you're I guess you're setting out a new direction for the body in terms of slowing down. So 3 minutes, and she says do it the same time each day, 3 minutes. Just put your timer on your phone or use a timer, and take a note of your breath, slowing down, and notice your body. How does your body feel? But you need to be consistent. You can't do it one time and then kind of forget it. You need to do it consistently. So it's really important. 3 minutes. She said if you can do more, brilliant, but 3 minutes to start off with. And you may find that when you do it, the effect is unbelievable. I'll certainly say that in the morning, you've heard me say this before you rush out to face the day, to spend a few minutes in silence, can be really helpful. I don't know about anybody else, but I really dislike getting to places late. Certainly if I'm doing something, if I'm moderating or leading something or presenting a paper, I really don't like arriving at places late, because what happens, it puts me under pressure, and I want to take the time to be relaxing. So for example, tomorrow I'll be doing some training. Training doesn't start till 2 o'clock, but I'm arriving in the city at 11:30. I'm having that time just in case anything happens to the train. I'm going to arrive in plenty of time, look through some of my notes, and then I'll have a coffee somewhere, find a place where I can just sit. I won't be on the phone. I'll be just sitting somewhere, being really, really quiet, getting my thoughts together, to do an afternoon session of training. So that's really important. So here are some 5-minute pause activities. Some of you may think, if there's any blokes, they might think, what? I'm not doing that. But anyway, this is about taking time out. Really, really important. So one of the things one person said, you can dance to your favorite song. Just taking the time out to wind up your waist and do something away. You might not be doing it to work, of course, but certainly when you get home, just to pause and dance, because dance is about movement, coordination, and strength. And as I was looking at this, I was reminded of when my daughters were very young. They're now 28, and I remember when they were really, really young, and we used to dance to music, and I used to make up funny dances, and then they started to copy it because they thought that's how you dance. But as they got a bit older, they felt that daddy was really kind of off his head, dancing like an old man. But the whole thing about dancing with children, relaxing, really important. In fact, I still do it now, actually. I don't do the nightclub scene, a bit too old for that maybe, but certainly at home, as a nice groove comes on, I'm there shaking my hips and my booty and all the rest of it, having some fun, just to relax. So another right, do men have booties? I ain't too sure. I'm not too sure about that. Anyway, swiftly moving on. I'm sure if we don't, somebody will let me know. But anyway, so the 5-minute breath focus. So again, taking the time out. It's really important, especially if you're in a tense, you're getting angry, you're getting annoyed. Just taking that time out, 5 minutes. Again, set your phone on flight only, or you put it on silent, so if there's a call, you don't hear it. And just spend 5 minutes noticing your breath. I tell you something, I've not done any work on this, but breath work, it is so important. We take breathing for granted. We don't even think about it until we're struggling. But breath work, a guy called James Nestor, he was a journalist, and he had pneumonia really, really bad. And the doctor, instead of sending him and getting him some drugs, he said to him, go to this class where they teach you how to breathe properly. And James Nestor said that was a massive turning point. Loads of stuff on YouTube. James Nestor, Nestor. The whole thing around breath work, how breathing correctly is so important for our well-being, and certainly taking pause, taking time out is really, really important. Let me just put this banner that should be up there, at least you can see it. Right, okay, so breath work, really important. Here's something else you might even think is, you know what, Daryl, really? Have a drink, a hot drink, mindfully. How many times do we have somebody makes us a cup of tea, coffee, herbal tea, and we sat at our computer or we're working and we're just gulping it down? There's something about going away from the busyness, from the activity of office space. And sometimes, I know my dad was one for this. When he came, my dad was a builder's joiner, and especially in the winter time, he'd come in a real bad mood because he was out in the cold all day. And what I know now, some of the things he went through as a black guy on the building site were really, really difficult. And my dad, he didn't want his, sometimes I used to want to kind of get to him straight away. And he used to say to me, I won't say the Jamaican patois, but Delroy, give me 5 minutes. And what my dad wanted then, he wanted to go upstairs, get himself cleaned up, and he wanted a cuppa. And he just sat with the cuppa, and that cuppa it just grounded him. And I didn't know, I didn't know what he was doing at the time, but he was taking time just to decompress from a really difficult day on the building site, a very cold day, and he just had that cuppa to decompress before he started to eat his food. So about having our hot drinks mindfully, maybe it's a herbal tea. And sometimes when you get in from work, you've had a really busy day and you're onto things. Maybe before you just get into things, you have a nice drink, you slow down, no TV, no phone, and you just enjoy the drink. Enjoy the drink. So you're slowing down, giving your body a chance to recover. Absolutely important. And one of the things about not just the drink, but how often do we rush our food? At one time I used to eat my food really slow, but I've noticed over the years I've been eating a lot quicker. It means that I'm not chewing my food properly. But lately I've started to begin to intentionally slow down my eating and savor the food that is in my mouth. So I'm having to intentionally do it. That's really important as well. Some people do neck and jaw exercises for 5 minutes. They rotate their neck and they do exercises with their jaw. Again, it's pausing, it's slowing down, taking time out, checking in with your body, and just slowing down to a slower pace, maybe away from the computer terminal that you're in, but making the space to do what you need to do. So for example, today, bank holidays for me is, I call it me day. I go for a long bike ride in the morning, and then I go to a nice hotel, have my breakfast, and I was there this morning and I left about 4 o'clock time, doing some bits and pieces, but thinking a lot, doing some journaling, doing a bit of reading, pausing, just taking some time out from the busyness of life. And also for me, now that I'm working for myself, I don't work every day flat out. Monday to Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday is my time. To be honest, even before I started working for myself, I've always felt that 5 days a week is far too much. And for some people who are working in very stressful jobs, 5 days is simply too much. 2 days is not enough. And it would be interesting. Maybe some of you can't do it, but I remember a couple of school teachers, they got married really, really young, and in their very, very early 20s, they both worked 4 days a week. And I asked them whether or not it would affect their pension. They said hardly anything to talk about. So sometimes it is worth asking if your job is getting too much, you're not coping because it's really, really stressful. Ask about the possibility of reducing your hours and going to 4 days a week. If you don't ask, you'll never know. Some places are interesting that will happen. I met somebody some time ago. He left one job and he's got another job. He was offered 2 jobs at the same time. But one of the things that attracted him to the job where the money was less, said in the interview that the interviewer said they really take seriously the well-being of their employees, and they then went on to explain what they mean. And he said, you know what, he said the amount of companies I've worked at, but nobody's ever spelled out what they mean in looking after their employees. The interviewer said, we don't believe in stressing out our employees. So there's an understanding that if you want to get the best out of people, to have people highly stressed is not the best thing. So having that time out is really, really important. So for some people, booking a retreat, really important. And if you're just kind of getting away, some people do silent retreats. I've been told they're really kind of powerful. Or maybe you can't do it, but maybe once every 2 months, once every 3 months, that you you go away for a long weekend. Now, if you, I remember talking to somebody some time ago. He had children, very, very young children, not able to get away. But I said, is there something you could do at home? He said, what do you mean? I said, is there something that you speak to the children as young as they are, and you let them know, say maybe every 2 weeks, Friday and Saturday, there's going to be no phones, no TV, but you create things together as a family, slow things down, and talk and have lots of really important conversation. You can do that when children are really, really young. It can be quite difficult if they get to adolescence and teenage years. So this whole thing about slowing down, you might not be able to get away, but can you and your partner, can you create something in the home? And even if you haven't got kids, is there a way that you can create something in the home that will be really beneficial to both of you? It could be that both of you got really difficult jobs. Is there and stressful jobs? Is there something you could do 3 nights a week? I recall a couple of years ago, certain nights of the week there's no TV. They did games together, and they had a child. They did games together. They had lots of fun. So it's about being creative. What would taking pause look like for you and your family? If you're on your own, what does it look like for you? Is there a group of friends that you could perhaps go away with for a weekend, maybe just overnight, just to chill out? Nothing on the agenda, but you've got good food. You know women do it really well. They have spa weekends and so forth. Is there something that you can do that really benefits and really helps you? So listen, this is all I'm going to share today. There's more for next week. There's loads of things we can do. So what can you do to pause that you will benefit from? I will be giving a list today. I'm sure there'll be more next week. But what's really important as I share these ideas, what's really important is not so much what I say, but it's your reflections on what I say, on the things that can work for you and work for you well. So next week I'll be live as far as I remember in terms of my diary. It just so happens, my apologies for this, is pre-recorded, and hopefully see you next week live at 7 o'clock. Wishing you well. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of your week. Go well. Take care. Bye-bye.